Hello, everyone. Day 2 for us of the dozen beers of Xmas. And we are going for Divinations, 6.8% New England IPA with Galaxy, Azaka, and Brew One. So, yeah, just going to pour this out, get started.
Good effort. Josh, did you, were we in conversation about the name of this beer when we came up with it? Like, did I tell you what it was named from?
No, I don't think so.
Divinations is quite a broad word, really. But if you look on the base of the can, there is a clue. But then again, even the clue is very tenuous. The clue would only confirm if you got it right the first time. It's the Divinations is a Mastodon song from the album Cracked Sky, and Lion Slicer is a lyric from a Mastodon song on Blood Mountain album. So it's a very, very tenuous reference, but the difference is when someone gets it and they message us on Twitter or something and say, "Oh, I got you, I get the joke," then it's like, "Oh, great, I made a friend." Get to keep them now.
Yeah, now that you've mentioned it, like I get the reference, but I don't think we spoke about it when it was first formed. I once named a beer in a past life Cracked Sky because it was a rye pale, so it was sky with an E on the end and rye with an E on the end.
I think that might have been the first time me and you ever communicated, because I'm not sure if it was from the brewery account or my own Twitter, but I messaged you or Ridgeside and said something like, "Oh, is that a Mastodon reference?" I think that might be the first time we ever communicated.
I think
it's probably out there somewhere.
I think that we communicated before that. When you were at the Falcon Tower.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, sorry.
and I came in trying to sell you beer, and then you recognised me from my Untapped profile, I believe.
Waldoc's Beer Adventure or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, my short-term beer review blog.
But I've never looked at the blog, but that was your Untapped username, I think.
Okay, yeah, same thing.
But yeah, small world really, beer world, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's meant to be. Can we just say, look how expertly you've poured yours and how absolutely foam worthy I've gone.
Look at this, look at that.
Oh, he's done so well. Look at that monkish. Is it a monkish glass?
That is a monkish glass. That's the sign of too many pours for photographs.
Yeah, you've done well. But yeah, interested to see what you guys are doing. If you want to tag us on your socials. Always interested to find out people's drinking vessels. Sometimes people send us pictures of our beer in like glass ice cream sundae vessels. I've already used the word glass, haven't I? But yeah, if you're drinking it from the can like a heathen, that's absolutely fine. Sometimes I'm prone to a drink from the can, much to the chagrin of my colleagues. But how do you feel about that, Josh?
Given the option, I'll always pick something made of glass. I have I don't think there's anything true about different shapes of glasses. I think that's all psychological. Glass is glass. But yeah, if you don't have a glass, drink from the can, that's fine.
It's like the best thing invented since the burger. It comes with its own cutlery. You don't need anything else.
Yep.
You've got it all.
The Alchemist Brewery, Heady Topper and the like, on their cans, it tells you to drink it from the can. He's
absolutely evangelical about that as well.
Yeah, probably say you don't steal the sediment.
Well, it's that is a thing, and yeah, that's probably the main bit. But if you watch that guy, I think his name's John Kimmich or Kimmick or something like that. He encourages you to drink half of it, swirl it around, and then carry on. But his reasoning for that is for drinking it from the can is not to disturb the beer too much by chucking it in and getting it all oxidized and stuff. So this is a little. I'm not sure about that, but the idea is that the carbon dioxide sits on top of the beer as you drink it, and you're not messing with that, and it stays fresh throughout. I guess he's got a point, because if you drink beer from a can for an hour, like the last bit of it's not that much different than the first. But if you left a pint out for an hour, it wouldn't be that great.
True.
But just drink faster.
I suppose whether it takes you an hour to drink or not would be the reasoning behind that.
Yeah. So divinations then. This is, I think, one of our better IPAs that we've released this year, and probably because it was the first exposure we had and first use of the Galaxy hop, something that we've been craving for years, like really craving. It's one of those things, much like toilet paper and flour for anybody that doesn't brew beer. You just can't get it when you really, really want it. And Galaxy hop is beautiful. It's from only grown in Australia, not in particularly huge quantities. And because it's so good, all of the big breweries seem to have pilfered it, and makes it difficult for the little guys like us to get a look in. But now that we've got a nice big shiny brewery, it's getting a bit easier to get the things that we want, which is nice. It's good for us. It's good for you. So yes, our first sort of experience of brewing with Galaxy, but certainly not the last. You'll try this hop again in 2 other beers over the 12 days of Xmas. And it's beautiful hop. To me, it's like pure passion fruit. It's just so fresh.
Yeah, it's the most sort of tropical of the hops that we use, that people use regularly, certainly in my opinion. I think when it's used with other things like we've done here with the Zaka and Brew One, the balance of all of them comes together really, really well, and you end up with the passion fruit adding into other stuff. Personally, when it's just Galaxy, it's a bit too cloying for me. I mean, some people absolutely love the flavor and they can't get enough of it. That's fine. But this is probably my favorite IPA that we've done this year because it uses Galaxy in the way that I like to use it. So
I'd say that probably comes from a really innocent place from us in the brewery, where it was like, because we'd not used it before, we were very cautious of it and almost treated it as though it was some illicit substance. Hence the artwork as well, where effectively the hops prey into the stone in the center, in this sort of religious thing, is probably me and Luke and probably Josh over here as well, praying to the Galaxy gods to make this beer delicious. And so we'd seen online and heard from some other breweries that Galaxy is one of those hops that needs a little bit more time in the tank to mellow down. Hops too fresh can be probably worse than not enough hop character in a New England IPA, for example. We've all tried those beers that like stick with you for the rest of the evening, and 3 or 4 beers later you're still tasting it. That to us is like public enemy number 1. We don't ever want that.
Hop burn, no.
There's no excuses for hop burn, and we'd heard that Galaxy was pretty bad for that, so we were really, really cautious. And one of the beers you'll try later, Silent Echoes, has got a much more liberal use of Galaxy, but hopefully, I know there's some days in between, but try and remember this beer and use it as a bit of a reference point for the other beers containing Galaxy, because you'll see the different uses of it and why we love it so much.
I only just now, when you said that the hops were praying to a stone, have thought that maybe people are taking that literally and it's an homage to Stone Brewery. You can bleep that out as well.
No, I'm going to keep that in. That's great.
Bleep the word stone, and everyone will be like, "Oh, what does this mean?" Beat Brewery.
Like it. But I like this. The can art is really cool because. Oh, by the way, must shout out Lottie, who does the artwork for most of our cans these days. We've hit a really good thing, I think, with the can designs this year, where it's like sort of, it's not just space stuff anymore. There's a little bit more to it. This one's really good. It's like I say, there's always a bit of a story, and that is that we are very grateful to get hold of this ingredient, and we are literally on our knees praying to the bags of hops for juicy goodness.
I feel like we're slowly creating like a little universe with its own history and backstory from the images. Like it's, each one wasn't connected, and now they're all becoming like an encyclopedia. When they have the Encyclopedia of Middle Earth, and it's like
I was just going to mention that. Like, like literally, I was just going to say I'm working towards, with the artwork, something like, it needs its own wiki page. It definitely needs a wiki page. But in my mind, the way it materializes in the future is that it's a bit like the cartoon Adventure Time, where someone had some separate ideas for separate episodes, put them in a cartoon, and then used whatever tenuous links there were between the episodes to create a universe.
Well,
that's exactly what Adventure Time is.
Science fiction, space, religion, tenuous links. I mean, a couple more years of this sort of design and we'll have Scientology in the bag.
I think so. And people pay a lot of money to join things like Scientology, so it's not all bad.
Tom Cruise, if you're listening, get involved.
But yeah, so what are we going to conclude on this Divinations with?
It's a lovely colour.
It is a lovely colour.
It's like
apricots. Yeah, again, this is another really simple recipe. Our job in the brewery, I guess, is just to put the right ingredients together and let them do their thing. We can't take any credit for the provenance of the ingredients, I guess. But putting something together like this is, like I say, really simple. 3 ingredients on the malt bill. It's just wheat, oats, and extra pale malt. The yeast, again, nothing too complicated, and barely any changes to our water profile, and just a lot of hop, a lot of dry hop. I think this one was in the 20s, I think, grams of dry hop per litre. And the downside of that for the brewery is just how much beer those hops drink up and that you can't sell or can't drink. It's very upsetting. But
yeah,
in return, they give us everything, so it's fine.
For viewers at home who might not know as much about Brew One, as it's less used and more modern hop, what can you tell people what Brew One brings to the table?
Brew One's one of those things where people see it on our thing, which is probably the question we get the most on our web shop is, what is a Brew One? And it's a fairly new experimental hop variety. It's only been a commercial release for a couple of years, I think. And I tried it in, where did I try that? I think it was a hop growers thing at Hop Growers, what do you call it?
Convention?
It was at a Hop Growers presentation at Brewdog in Ellen in Scotland, and there was some Brew One pellets on a table, and I'd done Sabro, Mosaic, and all the other ones, and Sabro was still pretty new at that point, and that was incredible. But Brew One, that really it really popped, and when you're sort of rubbing hop pellets together and trying all the different things, that one really stood out. And to me it was pure passion fruit. It's just and pineapple, so much pineapple, like pineapple chunks. If you ground a pellet down and put it in a glass with some wort, you'd be mistaken for thinking it's not like a tin of rings of pineapple. It's like,
yeah, pineapple definitely for me. Citra and Brew One as a combination, that's what you need.
Yeah, that was the dream with that beer, but it didn't quite come off in the same way, did it? But
Citra, Brew One, and that Waimea that we've got.
Oh yeah, Waimea, Simcoe, Nelson, Saison, barrel aged,
and then white wine barrels.
Yeah, and then apricots. I'm playing Josh Bingo. So this beer was brewed around about the same time as another IPA that we'll try further down the line called Cosmic Flux. Now on paper those beers are really similar, but the end product couldn't really be much more different. This is 6.8, Cosmic Flux is 7.2. Most of the recipe is the same, the hops are different. Just goes to show when people say, certain breweries like to just do the same beer and change the hops. That's a credible thing to do. That's a reasonable expression of the bounty of beer ingredients.
Definitely. I mean, hops can be so different from each other. Cosmic Flux is predominantly Citra and Mosaic, which would be classed as two of the headliners of the modern pale ale, most used in that sort of beer. Whereas with Divinations, Galaxy being the first time we'd ever used it, and it's harder to get hold of. Azaka and Brew 1, more experimental and more modern, so completely different hop profiles, even though they're similar ABVs.
Definitely. And I think with that, we will leave you guys to enjoy, if you've got any left, enjoy the rest of your can of Divinations, and we will see you in the Monson.
Cheers.